Okay, so get this right. We're going depth on this one. Today's deep dive. It's a wild ride, seriously. We're talking technology, privacy, power, all that colliding.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And get this, our source. A speech. But not just any speech. This was a former intelligence analyst.
Whoa, okay. Someone who's seen the inside.
Right, exactly. They were at a Bitcoin conference, and they basically laid out how our digital lives, they're about to get a whole lot more see-through. And not in a good way.
Yeah, when you've got someone with that kind of background basically saying, hey, watch out, you got to pay attention. Like they've seen firsthand how governments use data and sometimes, let's face it, how they misuse it. That adds a whole other level of seriousness to this whole thing.
No, totally. And they don't sugarcoat it. They come right out and say, we're living in this illusion of privacy, especially when it comes to our money, right?
Right.
We all hear about Bitcoin being anonymous, but this speaker, they're saying those transactions, all that stuff happening on the blockchain, it can be traced back to us.
Yeah, and they hit on a really important point. Exchanges. It's like, those on and off ramps to get onto the cryptocurrency highway.
Right, yeah.
Those exchanges, they have to play by the rules, right? They've got to share data with the authorities, sometimes because of regulations, sometimes just straight up because it's the law.
True, much for anonymity.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's just the beginning. What they're really worried about, AI. They're saying the next 5, maybe 10 years, AI is going to be everywhere, analyzing financial transactions on a huge scale. Think Minority Report. But instead of predicting crime, it's looking at your spending habits.
It's kind of creepy when you think about it. And their point is, banks could use this AI to flag anything that seems off. And we're not just talking about illegal stuff here. Imagine donating to a political cause, right? And some algorithm flags it as risky because of something you did online, and boom, your bank account's frozen.
Oh, wow.
Even totally legal things could get caught in the crossfire, you know? It's like this slippery slope, right? And the speaker connects this back to a bigger problem. All the systems we use, like economics, politics, even digital stuff, they're saying it's all messed up from the start.
Yeah, and they go way back, like all the way back to Adam Smith. You know, how those in power have always figured out how to rig the system, especially with money.
Right, right.
And they're saying this isn't new. It's like this pattern throughout history. People in power, they find ways to stay in power. And a lot of times it's at our expense, our freedom. And they think this whole AI surveillance thing, it could make that power imbalance so much worse.
Yeah, it's a pretty dark picture, right. But hold on, it's not all doom and gloom. The speech does offer some hope. They end by saying, hey, don't give up, don't become cynical. We have to fight back, find ways to work together, and build new systems, systems that are fairer and that respect our freedom.
That's so important. It's easy to feel helpless with these huge problems, right?
Yeah.
But they're saying, don't give in. We have to stay engaged, not just voting, but actively shaping a better future. And that's where things get really interesting. It's easy to point fingers at problems, but coming up with solutions, that's a whole other thing.
Yeah.
I'm really curious what the speaker thinks we can actually do. They don't seem like the type to just give up, you know?
Yeah, no, you're right. And this is where things get interesting. Remember how they were talking about those in power manipulating money throughout history? Well, they think Bitcoin and blockchain, that whole technology, it could actually break that cycle.
Whoa, really? Now that's a bold statement. How do they figure that?
They say it's because Bitcoin is decentralized. It's like really hard for one group, even a government, to control it, like taking away their favorite weapon for controlling the economy.
Okay, yeah, I see what they're saying. Bitcoin runs on this global network, right? The blockchain. And it's not owned by any one government or bank. Instead of some big authority calling the shots, you've got this massive network of computers all working together to verify and record transactions.
Right, exactly.
And that makes it a lot harder to mess with, to manipulate in the ways that we see with the regular financial systems.
Yeah, totally. And it's not just about stopping some secret deals, because every single transaction, it gets recorded on this public blockchain. It's like this crazy transparent system. No more shady stuff hidden in the dark.
Yeah, no more hiding. That's one of the biggest problems with our current financial system, right? We don't actually know what's going on behind the scenes, which makes it so easy for corruption and manipulation to thrive.
It's true. It's like that saying, sunlight is the best disinfectant. The speaker, they seem to believe Bitcoin and blockchain can shine that light on the whole financial world.
It's a powerful idea for sure. But, we got to remember, technology isn't a magic bullet. There are social and political forces at play too, contributing to this power imbalance. Tech alone can't fix deeply rooted social problems.
And they mentioned that. Remember how they were talking about working together, building stronger communities? Well, they actually think Bitcoin and blockchain can help with that too.
Really. That's not something you usually associate with finance and tech, is it? How does that work?
Well, they say it's because these technologies, they're all about decentralization and collaboration from the ground up. It's about giving individuals and communities more control over their own data, their money, even their governance. Imagine a world where power isn't just with these big institutions, but with the people they're supposed to be serving.
Okay, I see where they're going with this.
Yeah.
It's about shifting the power dynamic, right?
Right.
Making these systems more transparent, more accountable, more democratic.
Yeah, exactly. It goes beyond just the tech itself. It's about using that technology to create a more just world, like fundamentally reshaping the systems we deal with every day.
It's a powerful message. It's easy to get lost in the technical details of Bitcoin and blockchain, but we have to remember the bigger picture. These are tools, and like any tool, they can be used for good or bad. It depends on how we use them.
Totally. And this speaker was very clear about that. They believe these technologies have huge potential for good, but only if we're smart about it. Like, don't treat Bitcoin as just a way to get rich quick or escape the system entirely. It's bigger than that.
It's a much more nuanced and optimistic view than you usually hear. They're presenting a vision where real change requires us to be active, to work together, to build that better future, not just wait for it to happen.
Right. It's more than just voting or using a specific technology. It's about actually creating the world we want to live in, even if that means working within the very systems we're trying to change.
It's not always about burning everything down and starting over, is it? Sometimes it's about working from within to make things more just and fair. It's tougher, for sure, but often it's the way to make real, lasting change.
Exactly. And the speaker said even small acts of resistance can matter. Choosing privacy-focused tools, supporting businesses that align with your values, being careful about the data you share. They may seem small, but together, they can make a difference.
It's about putting your money where your mouth is, right? Like living your values even in small decisions.
Yes, and they emphasize that it's not enough to just make those choices ourselves. We have to spread the word, share what we know, inspire others, and build a movement. Because individual action is great, but collective action, working together, that's how real change happens.
Turning those ripples into a wave. And this speaker, they seem to truly believe we have the power to do that.
They definitely do. This wasn't a lecture about how bad things are. It was a call to action. They want us to feel hopeful, empowered. They believe we can shape the future, not just let it happen to us. And that together, we can make the world a better place.
It's powerful, especially now. We're at this crossroads, not just with technology, but with everything, right?
Yeah.
And the decisions we make today will shape the world for generations.
This deep dive, it wasn't just about Bitcoin or AI. It was about looking at the big picture, seeing the challenges, but choosing to face them with hope and a commitment to building something better.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a lot to think about.
It really is. So as we wrap up this part of our deep dive, I'm curious to hear your thoughts. What are some concrete things people can do? Because it all sounds good in theory, but how do we translate these big ideas into action? It really does feel like we're on the edge of something totally new, but with all this like baggage from the old systems, it makes you wonder, how do we actually build this better future without getting totally tripped up by the way things are right now?
It's a tough balance, right? Trying to change a system from the inside out. Did they talk about that? Like how to actually walk that line?
They did. They said we have to find ways to connect these big ideas, these ideals, with the reality on the ground. Like, we need practical solutions, ones that understand how messy the world actually is. It's not about being naive. It's about moving towards our goals within the system we have right now, even if it's flawed.
I like that. It's easy to get caught up in the big, radical ideas, but sometimes it's those smaller steps that actually get you somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. And the speaker said even small acts of resistance can make a difference. Things like choosing tools that protect your privacy, or supporting businesses that reflect your values, being more careful about the data you share online. These might seem small on their own, but when we all do them, that's when things start to shift.
It's about walking the walk, not just talking the talk.
Right.
Putting your money where your mouth is, living those values in your everyday life.
100%. And they really stress that it's not enough to just do it ourselves. We have to talk about it, spread the word, inspire the people around us to get on board. Individual action is great, but collective action, that's how we really make a difference.
Turning all those little ripples into a tsunami of change.
Exactly. And this speaker, they really believe we have the power to do that. This wasn't just them ranting about how bad things are. It was a call to action, like a rallying cry for all of us. They want us to be hopeful, to realize we have more power than we think, and to fight for the future we want to see.
I'm definitely feeling inspired.
Me too.
Yeah.
This deep dive, it went way beyond just Bitcoin or AI or any one technology. It was about taking a long, hard look at the systems around us, the challenges we face, and choosing to meet them head on. It's about remembering that we're not powerless, and together we can build a better future.